Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to day 3 of the 31 Days of Horror. D Bougie 86 back again up in this bitch. And the film I got for you guys today is one that I was actually very curious on for the longest time. I heard interesting things reading about this movie, and it looked interesting enough for me to pick up, and especially who's in it. Now, the film I am talking about today is from 2014. It was put out actually by Full Moon. It's not a Full Moon movie, though. It was distributed by Full Moon here in the States, and that is known as Wax. Yes. This is actually a Spanish horror film. It's directed by Victor, I'm going to butcher the hell out of this, Matalano? I believe that's how you pronounce it. Victor Matalano, who actually, ironically enough, I think it was either my first 31 days or my second 31 days of horror. I actually reviewed his second movie. He actually is the director of the remake of Vampires, the Jose Ramon Larraz film. That was his reimagining, which I actually kind of liked. It was kind of decent in my opinion. I could see why people did not like that movie in that aspect where, it was a little bit different, and, it was a different scale and budget to that film. And it looked a lot different compared to the Larraz original, which I prefer the Larraz original, of course, in that sense. But that's a whole different other fucking review and stuff. Wax was his first feature that he did. And it's a very interesting movie. It has a lot of recognizable faces, especially if you are a fan of Spanish horror. First off, let me start off with a little plot synopsis on this movie. Pretty much, we're introduced to this dude, this young journalist. I think his name was Mark in the movie. I could be mistaken, but has a task sent by his supervisor to film in this remote wax museum in Spain, and the main thing that he has to set up and look at is a new display that they have in this wax museum of this serial killer, Dr. Knox, who was like a cannibal that used to film all his experiments where he did surgery and ate certain body parts from said victims. Pretty much, they made a wax figure of this dude, and the cool thing about it is it starts off it's kind of the way I would describe this movie is it's kind of like a found footage film, but it has non-found footage parts within it. But that's an interesting aspect of it. There's definitely some found footage aspects in it, but it's not fully found footage, the film. And, we're following this guy throughout the wax museum during the night, and things start to happen. First, he gets a call from his editor saying that Dr. Knox has escaped, and then what ends up happening is maybe Dr. Knox is in the building with him. That's all I'll give away. Now, my thoughts on this movie, I actually really enjoyed this movie. For certain aspects, there are a few things that I'll give faults for the movie, but I'm going to talk about all the positives first. First off, I love the score of this movie. The soundtrack is top notch. It has this great orchestral score throughout it that brings the atmosphere into it. There are certain flashback kill scenes in this movie where it has that 70s grindhouse feel. They look very grindhouse in the sense of the way they were shot. It has all the little digital hairs and things that you would see in an old grindhouse print, because it's supposed to be old film stock footage from Dr. Knox's camera and stuff through the torture scenes that we see that he probably filmed. I like that aspect of those scenes in general. There's a lot of great atmospheric scenes. There's this nightmare logic scene with Dr. Knox riding a fucking giant horse carriage, which is fucking awesome. The second thing is most of like the old school actors from Spanish horror films that we get in this film. First off, let me say Dr. Knox is played by the legendary Jack Taylor. If you don't know who Jack Taylor is, you probably know him from Pieces, The Ghost Galleon, Female Vampire. He is fucking fantastic in this movie. He actually steals this movie. He's usually playing like a side character or like an asshole. And in this movie, he plays like this serial killing cannibal. And it's fucking awesome. And the whole getup of Dr. Knox that I like is his favorite movie is House of Wax, the Vincent Price one. He actually dresses up like Vincent Price from that movie in this movie. And it's fucking awesome. I love that aspect of his character. And it's so cool because even like I did a commentary for Pieces. And I'm like, Jack Taylor is like the if you can't get Vincent Price in your movie, get Jack Taylor. Because he kind of looks like a weird long-faced version of Vincent Price in a way. It's great. And, you know, you got actually the editor of The Journalist, Mark, is played by Geraldine Chaplin, of course, Charlie Chaplin's daughter. And we also get a very interesting cameo performance by the voice of Paul Naschy. Yes, they took some vocal recordings that Paul Naschy did before he passed away, and they made a automaton, that's the word I was looking for, not ottoman, you know, that could actually speak, and it looks exactly like Paul Naschy, and it actually tells the future and says things in Spanish, of course, and it's actually his voice. It's so fucking cool. I love that aspect of this. And they even have a lot of like horror, you know, things in it. You know, they mention a lot of horror things, like when he talks about the Wolfman wax figure, he's talking about like Lon Chaney and, you know, Oliver Reed and shit. And then they're like, and of course Paul Naschy. You know, they make name drops in this, and I like. And you know, even in like Geraldine Chaplin's like office, there's like a poster of the Mummy's Revenge, which is fucking awesome. You know, there's even shout outs to everything. Like there's a cool scene near the end of the movie where like Geraldine Chaplin actually walks by a wax figure of her actual father, Charlie Chaplin, and it was so fucking cool. The aspect of the movie that I'm not gonna really spoil is the actual like what is happening in the end, and because I actually like that, and I kind of want to see other people's interpretations of that. But it was so cool to me. Now there are a few dislikes. I think the film does drag in a few scenes, especially with the runtime. You know, you're really just following this one dude in a wax museum, so it does feel like it drags in some aspects of the movie. It could have been shown by maybe like 10 minutes. I could see that. It actually runs longer than the runtime on the DVD says. It actually it says like 79 minutes. I think it was like 182. So, but it felt a little long in some places in that aspect. But overall, I still, and also, there's one other aspect of the movie that kind of, the main guy, when he goes over the top, it's very noticeable over the top, and it kind of took me out of some aspects of the movie and that scenes and shit. So, he's okay, like when he's calm and stuff, but when he was going over the top and crying and shit, it was like, okay, that's not really that great, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed this fucking movie for what it was. If you're a fan of like Spanish horror or just horror in general, I say check out Wax. It's fucking awesome, in my opinion. Like I said, it does have a few faults, but overall, I really fucking enjoyed it for what it was. What would I rate it? I'm going to go like a 7 out of 10 on this one. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, there are a few faults for it in the movie for the aspect of its budget and stuff, but it really works. But everything else I really like. And, you know, Jack Taylor just elevates this movie for me. He's fucking awesome in it. So, yeah, 7 out of 10 for Wax. Check that out. Alright, guys, that's it for this day. This video was fucking long as shit. I had a lot to say about this movie because, you know, especially after yesterday's movie, this was a good palate cleanser for me. I really dug the shit out of this one. So, I'll see you tomorrow, guys, or another one. Peace.